She's right. I don't usually like to promote this kind of thing because you don't know where the advice is going. And when it goes into the hands of someone that is maybe a bit immature, young, they might not know exactly how to handle this. And that used to be my problem when I was younger as well, and lack of experience and exposure. It's natural. So what I would say is that if you're caught in this kind of situation, she's absolutely right. People that cross certain barriers with you, they're doing it to test how far they can take things. That's what it is. They want to understand, they want to gauge how much can we push this person? How much can we tease them or criticize? I had to have a call come right at that moment. Right, so basically what you're going to do is as soon as someone starts getting a bit feisty, sarcastic, teasy with you, but actually it's crossing a boundary and you have that gut feeling like, hold on, this person is actually taking the piss out of me. What you want to do in that moment, from what I've learned, is you want to kill them with kindness. Be very careful when you approach these kind of people with any kind of aggression or too much sarcasm, because what happens is the narrative gets flipped and you become the villain. So what you want to do is you want to be able to cultivate an answer that's very direct and extremely polite, but very forthright. And when you combine those things together, they very quickly understand, like, okay, I cannot take the piss out of this person because their intellect outruns mine. But when you go defensive, when you get upset, when you get angry, what you're doing is you are displaying the emotional instability that they will use as an excuse against you in other scenarios happening. Because what we need to realize is if it's a sister-in-law, a mother-in-law, these people are going to be a part of your life, hopefully forever, inshallah, if your marriage is healthy and it goes on. But they can also make your marriage extremely unhealthy if you don't handle these relationships delicately. And I used to be that girl, like, go in with a bulldozer, tell them straight, don't you dare talk to me like that. But when you approach life that way and you don't have a certain element of like democracy in the way, like you have to have a democratic approach in order to help a family last that long. Because when a woman goes, especially in her emotion and her logic and everything goes out the window, because we are emotional creatures, we don't want that emotion, that raw emotion, to be used against us because it trivializes how we feel. So when you're dealing with any in-laws, in this particular case, that's what she's hinting at. Or say an auntie that you met at a wedding or something, she's a bit passive aggressive about your weight or what have you. You know, I personally would approach them with, you're my elder and I look up to you in so many different ways. And those kind of comments is not something I was expecting to come from you. And that's really disappointed me. Just walk off. Or if your mother-in-law is saying something like, oh, mere bete ke liye khana bhi nahi banaya. Just be like, हाँ आप सही कह रही हैं, मैंने नहीं बनाया क्योंकि आपकी जनरेशन में तो आप घर पे बैठी नहीं थी, मैंने तो बाहर जाके काम भी करना है मर्दों की तरह, तो मेरे पास टाइम नहीं मिला, लेकिन इंशाल्लाह मैं जरूर करूंगी. Like, learning to be feisty with softness is literally going to change your life. Going in head on like a bulldozer in every single situation is going to ruin your credibility. And then what ends up happening is when other people say, oh, she just started shouting and went mental, everyone's like, yeah, she does do that. And then you're left in a spiral where you will end up getting bullied. So stay calm, stay cool, stay collected, stay smart. And there are plenty of women that I coach that I help to come back with comebacks of all sorts. Because there is always a way to deal with it. And remember, somebody who lacks intellect usually goes towards aggression and, you know, violence and all that sort of other thing. So you want to outsmart your opponent, but staying soft and calm. And that requires a decent level of self-esteem, which I promise you can be easily built. When you feel like your emotions are rising and you're about to come out of character and behave in a way you don't want to, that is your peak moment to take a breath. Because that moment is when you can make or break a situation. And this is coming from someone who has broken plenty of situations and then ended up in a spiral, and now I've got a reputation. And I'm like, yeah, but what I'm saying is right. But you can communicate what is right in a very wrong way. And what we're looking for here is women to be collaborators, unifiers. We don't want to be the ones that are tearing everything apart. And you remain calm, cool and collected, especially with your in-laws in front of your husband. You're going to get respect, honey. You're going to get respect. No one said submit. We said handle it with delicacy. Handle it with love. Handle it with purity. And remind yourself these people are related to me or my husband, depending on which person we're talking about. And put it in perspective. If it's not going to bother you 1 year from now, it's not worth causing trouble over. So if you want to talk to someone to come up with some cheeky comebacks, message me for a 1-to-1.